afternoon YouTube, Scott from SE Landscaping, and what have we been on with today? I usually do a video in the morning, but unfortunately travelling the site this morning it was pitch black dark, so which it's not getting light till about 8:15 at the moment, but I think the longest day is behind us, so things should start to lighten up hopefully. And what we've been on with is, I've never done any videos with our Nimos mosquito weed brush, which is this one here. And today we've been out in a cemetery doing some paths that get done once a year, which are covered in moss, and this tends to sort of get rid of them, and it keeps it at bay for a year really, till the back end, till it starts to get wet again, and then get the moss again. So once a year we come in with this machine. Obviously we have to clean leaves in this cemetery as well, and that's only one visit. They like it done at the end of the year, so we will be cleaning the leaves, and then following that we will be cleaning off with this tool. Now I can't praise these highly enough. This was a purchase I made. Same again, I went to Soltex last year, as everybody knows, and the way I sound is if I bought everything. I bought quite a few items, and this was one of them. I didn't actually buy it on the day like I did with various other things, but I actually got a guy called Stuart from a company called Overton. I met him at Soltex and I arranged for him to come out. And the good thing is, this guy will travel the length and breadth of the country to do you a demonstration, and if you don't like the machine it'll go away, so there's no hard sell. But the sell on the day was, he was coming out and I knew I wanted to buy one, but I just wanted to make sure that this was the tool, and I wanted him to show me how to change the heads and everything, because there's various heads. The head you're going to see on the machine is a standard road sweeper head, like the councils use, and the good thing is, anybody buying one of these machines, speak to someone at your local council or speak to someone who drives a road sweeper, because they're identical heads. And the good thing is, the road sweepers, they can only run these heads down to a certain amount before they're no good. Now for our machine, you can run them down further. So what that means is, when the council chuck these in the bin, they go into scrap or whatever, they're no good. So if you speak to the person, you might have to drop him a tenner, but it's better than paying £60 a head. So I've been getting them off a guy at the council recently, and I haven't had to buy one directly from the supplier because of what I've just said. So this head does moss. It's great for block paving and everything. Yes, it's more ideal in the dry, because in the dry it's like sand. You're taking the block pavement, you're taking the sand and the rubbish and the moss off the block pavement, and it's that dry that you can just blow it away. As you'll see from today's video, there was a lot of soil on the path, and it turned to mush, and it took one or two runs over before it actually came up good. There is another head that you can use for this machine, which I shall show you a picture of now. And what this head will do is take up, if you're going along a roadside verge that's tarmac, pin curb and soil, and the soil's say 6 or 7 inches higher than the pin curb, and you want to get that back to the pin curb, where usually you'd go with a half-moon edge and iron and scrape it off. This machine on a nice dry day will actually, with these thick tines, will actually just rip it off and leave you a lovely clean line. It'll do various other things as well. It gets right into pavement. Yes, if you've got a bit of rough tarmac that's degrading slightly, I wouldn't use this machine on, because potentially it could rip up, and if you're doing a job for, I don't know, a local company outside their premises, and that's county council's Footpath, yes, they could come back and say, well, you've caused the damage with this machine, you'll pay for it. So be careful where you use it, but on 90% of surfaces, good clean surfaces, good block pavement, it's ideal. I did a factory recently, the block pavement, and they were quoted £3,000, which sounds a lot of money, but when you see the size of the factory, it was huge. And that was basically for a company to come in and power wash all the moss off the block pavement in the car parks and resand. Now I went to him and I said, if you use my machine, we can do this once a year, we won't need to resand it. I said, well, we can get rid of all the moss and it'll keep it nice and tidy. And we went, and I think I was there, well, I tell a lie, there was 2 of us and we were there 2.5 days. So the guy saved a lot of money and it did a good job, and like I said, we're going back. It's already one of our customers, but basically the upsell of the thing is we will be going back to do that once a year, and that's on top of our existing contract, extra money. I have recently put a video up on upselling, and that's what I mean, to find other work from your customers, because it's easy to get work from an existing customer than find a new client. So coming back to this, watch the video now guys, and then we'll pick it up at the end. So guys, here we are at one of our cemeteries in a wet and windy North Durham, and basically this just gets 1 leaf clearance a year, which they like it done just before Christmas, and the reason for that is so people can start putting wreaths on. So here we are, we're going to get the paths firstly blown to get rid of all the leaves, and then the plan is the machine in question is going to give these paths a good clean and take all the moss off. In action in a bit, but the plan is I'll get the leaves blown off first and taken away, and then we'll run you through how good this is. This is the machine, the Nimos mosquito. It's powered by a Honda engine, so very little goes wrong with it. It's got the rotating road sweeper head. Like I say, the other head that goes on it, which I showed earlier, can do pretty much the thicker stuff. So if you've got 5 or 6 inches of grass growing over a pin curb, that's what the thicker head's for, and it'll quite happily just pull that to bits and take it off. So apart from the rotating handle, if you want to add pressure one side, or if you're working near a wall, that's pretty much the machine. Very basic machine, but it does a great job. So stay tuned and we shall get you some footage. So that's all the leaves off, guys, raked off and took away, which you can actually see now. Well, most of the leaves. You can actually see now what we're up against. You could spray this prior and it would make it a lot easier to come off, but like I say, on a dry day this machine will take anything off again. Machine will take anything off the surface and leave it nice and clean and dry. So there's the machine in action. You can see it's pretty much just the same as the general road sweeper you see the council driving around using. Obviously their machine has a suction pad on the middle which sucks it up, whereas this just shoots it around. There are machines on the market and coming to market with suctions on, but like I say, with this machine it does the job. You blow up afterwards and it leaves a nice surface. The bristles on this one, they've probably got maybe about 20 hours left, and then they'll be right down low. After that, like I say, we'll put a new one on. Well, not a new one, a second-hand one, but with still plenty life on. So there's the first pass done, and as you can see, we're blowing all the dust and detritus and everything else up. And just looking at that there, it's a very clean job. There are a couple of areas, stubborn areas, that are thick, and when it's wet you do have to go over them twice. When it's dry you don't seem to have the problem, but like I say, as you can see here, this area on the left, there's a couple of bits that you could go over again, and a few bits there on the right, but apart from that this path is quite clean. So we'll whip up those little bits again, and then we'll blow this again, and then we'll move on to the next path. But the edgings on this as well, if you want to, you can lift the machine up and it'll go along the top of the edgings and take the grass off, so that you've got nice clean edgings. The issue is in this cemetery, as you'll see as the video goes on, our edgings are in a very poor state and they're very loose. So by doing that, chances are we would loosen 1 or 2 more edgings. So we don't want we don't want to do that. We would probably just spot weed kill anything that's coming over the footpath in the spring to keep it back, and then this machine drops on at the back end of the year. You can see there's a lot of mush and mud here. It's not the best of days, as I said earlier, but it will still turn up a good job. So what I tend to do is go up each side and then go, like I'm doing here on the thicker areas, just go over it side to side just to give it a good, as if you're cleaning a pan really, just to give it a good scour and a good rub off. And once this is blown, it will take it all away, as you can see now. The blower I'm using here is the Big Still 700. Obviously you need plenty of power because it's surprising how much soil and dirt you're getting off. And that is the small area that I'm going over again. Like I say, some areas when it's wet. If this was dry on a dry day, we would only need one pass with this. I've got the handlebars tilted there because I find it easier to, on corners and things, just to have it tilted and you can get sort of more pressure on it. So that's the reason I have the handlebars tilted. That shot you've just seen there of the grass was actually bulbs that are actually establishing already. They've obviously been covered in leaves, so they've liked the surroundings. And there's the pin curbs I was on about. So what we don't want is to end up where there's more and more of those to do. That's possibly a job hopefully in the new year we'll get to smarten those up with a bit of luck. So on to another path, and it's the same again. It's just build up of moss. Now it's okay us doing this, but as people know, tarmac has very fine holes in and everything, so there will be still spores of this moss in the holes. So what we tend to do is in the spring we will spray this again with some moss killer. The reason this cemetery is so bad with moss is, like a lot of cemeteries, there is a lot of overhanging trees and there's very little light in the summer. So that's what causes the build up. Open ground, you tend not to get it as bad as this, but it's ideal breeding ground for the moss, which, as you can see, it does build up. So I hope the video, the explanation's been good for you guys. The picture quality hasn't been great today because, as you can see, it's raining constantly. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and the finished job. And anybody thinking about getting one, I think this video will certainly sway you in the direction of a purchase. It will save you a lot of time. So that is the machine in action on a brutal day. Like I say, it's never stopped raining today. It has been really rough, but many of you will know now that I'm not one to look outside and think, oh, I'll have a day off. I'm one just to keep going, and if I have a job in hand, we just get on it basically. The weather doesn't bother me. I've got nice waterproofs. I've got a Gore-Tex Berghaus jacket there that keeps me lovely and warm, and it keeps me dry, and that's basically all I need. So we've been on, we've cleaned the paths. They look ideal. Yes, there might be a little bit of surface dust once it dries that we'll have to go back to, but I'm not expecting much. And we do a January visit in there anyway, just picking up any fallen tree branches over Christmas. So you usually get the winds around this time of year, so we'll go in and do that. Anybody thinking about this machine, they are great, and the good thing with this Overton is I've tested various machines. I've tested one for another company, and their prices were they were double the price of this for more or less the same machine. The good news is with Overton is, if you speak to Stuart, he will have new or reconditioned. So, but as I said in the video, there's very little goes wrong with them. It's got a Honda engine on that are bulletproof, and it's got very few working parts. So you're far better off if they've had this machine. If they've had a second-hand machine, they've took it back in. They've obviously stripped it down, and stripping it down, there's nothing much to strip down. So in theory you are getting a new machine, you're not getting a second-hand machine, if that makes sense. Yes, it might have a few scratches on, but are we really worried about what something looks like when it's going to end up looking like it that has today, full of dirt and everything? So I hope the video is helpful to anybody who's thinking about, who spend days and days power washing people's drives when there is an alternative. And if you're going to a client charging them, I don't know, what's an average drive, £250–300 to power wash? I don't do a lot of it, but I'm just surmising you guys want a day's wage plus materials, so £250–300. You could probably do 3 or 4 drives in a day with this. Yes, you're not raking the sand out and everything, but you are getting the same finish at the end of the day. I will next summer show you what I mean by the same finish, because you don't have to go through all the mess. You can actually get a good finish with this machine and leave people happy, and you can do it a lot cheaper. You can go at £100 a shot, and if you've got this machine, your power washing people who are charging, like I say, £200 or £300, once the client gets you in and you're charging them £100 for something that's going to take you a couple hours work, they're going to have you back every year. And they might even say, wait, we're going to pay £300, how about you come in twice a year? We're still saving money and our drive's looking even better. So it's things like that. The machine will pay for itself in no time. I don't know if prices are going up, but you're looking at a couple of grand for this, and a couple of grand is not a lot if you base it on, I mean, a power washer. You can spend that on a power washer, and then if the client hasn't got water, you spend money on water and everything else. So it is a good investment for anybody looking to branch out into other works and adding something else to the landscape. So you can do paths. We've done whole villages with it. You can do road edges. You can do traffic islands where, if you're working for local councils and they can't get in, like under barriers and things, these little square bits of block pavement, you see traffic lights for instance, things like that. You can do areas like that, and like I say, for parish councils, we're doing bits that the council, if they can't get at them, they won't do them, they're weed sprayed. So we're filling gaps for them and getting work out of it. So this machine has paid for itself, and it will continue to pay for itself. And it's something that, with grass cutters and things, I regularly replace my grass cutters, but with something like this, it doesn't really warrant replacing, so I will hang on to it for a good few years. So I hope the video's helped, and I hope anybody who's been looking at these machines, because I know that a few people have who do watch and ask me the question to get a few videos up. It's just a shame I haven't been able to get them up in better weather, but I will next year. And anybody who's thinking of buying one, I would definitely invest the money in one. They are worth the weight in gold. So thanks for watching, guys. As I said on the previous one, I do keep knocking videos out, but if I don't knock any more videos out before Christmas, I hope everyone has a great Christmas and hits the ground running in 2021. And thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one.